Hello, my name is Curtis Henry, and this semester I built a web-based resource that teaches students how to use different punctuation marks. I used to teach the first year writing classes at UVU, and at the end of every semester I'd always have some students who would come up to me and say, I thought this class was going to be learning about how to use punctuation marks or how to improve my grammar, and all we learned about was how to research. And so I began compiling a list of resources online that taught students about grammar and punctuation. And as I looked at these resources, some of them were really helpful, but a lot of them were very text heavy, and they weren't very interactive. And so when I was in Dr. Rich's class this semester, I thought this would be a great project, is to create something that could teach students but would also be very interactive, where they could get feedback, answer questions, and see if they understand things. And so that's the goal of this website, is to teach students how to use punctuation marks in a way that gets them more engaged. This is the home page of the website, and it introduces students to the different sections. These sections are also listed here in the tabs off to the left. The basic outline of this website is they start with a pretest to see what they know. And then after that there's the lessons on the different punctuation marks, and then there's a game where they can practice what they've learned, and then finally it ends with a post-test that is similar to the pretest and allows students to compare how much their learning has changed from the pretest to the post-test. I'm going to go ahead and skip the pretest part, as it's just the same as the post-test, and start with the lessons. But before moving to the lessons, when you take the pretest, at that very end, depending on your score, you'll get some suggestions on maybe what lessons to focus on or what punctuation marks you should look more into. Anyways, this is the main lesson page. Students can either learn all the lessons, it's the full deal right here, or they can look at specific ones, specific punctuation marks in more detail, so commas, colons, and semicolons. I'm going to go ahead and go to one of the pages in commas. This page teaches students about how commas are used to make lists, and so the first part is kind of some textual instruction on the rules about using commas to make lists. And then on each lesson page there's also this try it out section where students can practice what they've just learned here with some questions. Sometimes they have to check a box, sometimes they have to put in letters or punctuation marks, but then when they submit they get some feedback letting them know whether they got the answer right or wrong, and some reasons why they got it right or wrong. After the lessons, there's a game, and in this game, someone has stolen this poor guy's Doritos, and in this game you're trying to help this guy collect his Doritos from some bad guys, and you're using punctuation marks to give directions to him. All the lessons are built off of this metaphor of movement. With commas, we're pausing. With colons, it's like we're coming to a door when we reach the colon, and we anticipate that there's something beyond, and so it's like we're opening the door, we're going through the colon to get to the rest. Colons are used to introduce a new idea or to lead into something more. Semicolons give this idea of that we're changing direction, and so I try to get this idea of movement into this game. There's a tutorial that teaches students how to use the game. This is the actual game page. This is our hero. His name is Mark, and the idea is to help Mark get safely through these hallways, collecting his stolen Doritos and avoiding bad guys. So right here is a bad guy, so he would want to avoid any directions given to him that would lead him here. Here's a doorway that he might have to get through, and then here's some Doritos that were stolen from him that he can collect. Anyway, students come to this game, they get a sense of what obstacles they need to navigate, and then use the appropriate sentence that has the right punctuation mark to get Mark to the right place. So on this page right here, he's got to go through this door, and he also has some Doritos to collect. He does not want to run into this guy. The correct sentence would be a colon to go through the door, and then a list to collect items. And so this sentence right here has the colon and then collect the list. Here we have just a door with no items to collect, and so all he would need is a sentence with a colon. If you went in the wrong direction, for instance, a semicolon is you're changing direction, so he'd be changing direction by turning into this new hallway. If he went the wrong way, he would get a warning, and so this is supposed to help teach students the idea of this metaphor of movement that will hopefully help them learn the punctuation marks better. At the very end, there's a post-test. This will give you an idea of what the pre-test and the post-test look like. It has each punctuation mark has its own page with specific questions. So this one you would be checking items on a list. This one you're actually adding in the punctuation marks. You do the same thing for colons and semicolons. And then at the end you would get your results. Because I'm running this just off of my computer rather than online, the cookie function isn't working, but technically it should have added up a pre-test score and a post-test score and then showed how much your score changed in points. Anyways, this is my website. I'm excited to see if this actually helps people learn punctuation marks.